Good morning, Kusile. Ngolelo muhle lapho usibukela khona all corners of the country as well as outside of the country. Sathi ukuthi bakhona basibukela from the diaspora sanimukela nonke Kusile breakfast show. It is Wednesday, Lulu. It is the third day of the third week of the month of July. It is a blessing indeed to be halfway into the year. Solo Siapila, bringing you the best of current affairs as well as other news this Wednesday morning. Welcome to the program, Lulu. Angivusele wena kuqala.
How are you this morning?
I'm all right. Can't complain.
Great. All right, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Sisamutinani niphilile nivuka kahle lo mhla ekuseni. Ma temperatures namhla athe nje kunyuka kancane. I think the maximum temperature nje lapha eMbabane it will be 24 degrees Celsius. So eMakhata akusila ngako. Kepha kusasa sifiso eMakhata ayabuya. Maximum temperatures nje la eMbabane ayachubeka ayatawunyuka ku 10 degrees Celsius. So
Good news. I think it's good news.
Right.
The other day I was actually talking to one of my colleagues on our way to town. I'm dreading it. I'm really afraid of Lesama Letago, especially looking at the fact that there are high temperatures in a lot of European countries as well as Asia. 50 degrees Celsius, number 49 degrees. In fact, one of the people from Arizona on the streets was interviewed pertaining Lokshisa. Utsi gungazuti yabona na vuli oven. Lokshisa lokphuma kukuve. That's the kind of temperatures they are feeling outside in Arizona right now. So I'm really scared. I'm really scared.
Yeah. All right, Mugele on the show namhla sida besikhulumisana na chairperson wenhlangano iSadat njengendlela ke yekugubha lusuku lo World No Tobacco Day leli mhla 31 May kanye nekhambisana nje nemgomo wenhlangano FCTC lekukwanzisa lwadi ngetobacco. Inhlangano iSadat carried out a public awareness campaign against tobacco with drive-through activities in Sitegi, Kalomahasha, Kamanzini, Matapa, Isipofaneni, as well as Esithobela. Sidabe sina chairperson wayo lenhlangano iSadat usichazela ngalo mkhankaso ukuthi uhambe kanjani. iSadat ke inhlangano ye-Association of Students Against Drug Abuse and Trafficking. Inhlangano le yanzisa lwadi ngebungoti bekusebenzisa tidzakamiva ikakhulukazi ilanzisa ulwadi kubamfana besikolo. Kanti ke ngekusho kwembiko wayo lenhlangano sincane sibalo sabafunzi lapho sebenzisa tidzakamiva lapha eveni. Kapheke noma kunjalo lenhlangano yachubeka nokushumayela livangelile kungasebenzisi tidzakamiva kude wonke umfana wesikolo atogcina angadisebenzisi dona tidzakamiva. Will be joined by Peter Semogerere lo mhla ekseni at 6:30 atasiniketa nje sithombe status on substance use lapha Eswatini kakhulukazi nasibuka bona abafunzi.
Yeah, we do also shine some light on youth participation and youth engagement on the show today as we are joined by Siphile Ndlangamandla of Libandla lebantu labasha lelatiwa nge-Eswatini Youth Consortium. Leselikhutsate insha ke ukuthi ibe ingcenye yelukhetho lonyaka kude bate ukhona kuba nelivi nakwendiwa tincumo. Siphile Ndlangamandla waleli bandla will join us to further this conversation at 7:30. The Eswatini Youth Consortium is formed by different youth organizations. It was established in 2022 to look into issues la tsinza youth, just to come up with solutions as well as to make efforts to represent youth across all sectors and regions in the country. This is one of the initiatives of the consortium, which has created, or rather to maximize youth participation from the policy-making table by engaging youth nationally to understand their role in the development of the economy, as well as creating better livelihoods for all Emaswati youth through partnerships. Siphile Ndlangamandla joins us at 7:30 to further this conversation.
4 minutes after 6 asasibuke nje ihloko lethamba embili kumaphephandaba ethu. Welcome back. Sitawucala nge-Times of Eswatini kule hamba embili ephephandzabeni eTimes lapha nje kunesithombe gifts fit for a king from King. His Majesty King Mswati III has gifted King Letsie III waseLesotho ngama-gifts lavelako khona lapha. Kanti kuletinye lethamba embili on the Times of Eswatini, stringent conditions as Prince Melane lifts ban on marches. He suggests conveners should send between 5 to 10 representatives to deliver petitions to avoid chaos. You'll find the story on page 2. Letting Letamba Mbili Kombi driver conductor held for rape of same woman. And also Tulani Masego's wife, hubby's death, a cold case on page 2. Lenyele Hamba Mbili concerns over newly formed men's house.
Leti hamba embili kutemidlalo Times of Eswatini legijima embili ye golf lapho khona 2 million emalangeni is up for grabs as the Sunshine Tour endorses local challenge with 750,000 emalangeni. Siyambona ke CEO we FNB Dennis Mbingo who spoke on the day lapho khona ku revealwe khona ukuthi 2 million emalangeni is up for grabs. Kanti ke kulenye le gijima embili inzaba yema Commonwealth Games lokuthiwa in limbo. Kanti ke there's also record 120 golfers coming to Eswatini kuyo i-Sunshine Tour lele say endoswe i-local challenge ya 750,000 emalangeni. Cishe ke lenye le gijima embili Swallows Wesleyans forfeit over 1.2 million votes.
Excuse me, Kuletamba Mbili Eswatini Observer lomhla on page 2, cops warning as Facebook group goes viral. Letinye Letamba Mbili front page, no nomination for SODV convicts. Cabinet ministers can contest for nomination. Kanske former president of South Africa Mbeki will attend the Waterford event. Letinye Letamba Mbili nomination centers and dates inside. And also, King gives King Letsia the 3rd birthday present.
Letamba Mbili temidlalo ku Eswatini Observer, major blow for Black Swallows. Inzaba Letsinzai Peak Black Swallows, which has suffered a major blow when over 1 million of their votes were declared null and void by the Momo Cup Management Committee. Mixed feeling over votes of nullification. That's the second one. It's still, touching on the same story, Black Swallows. Lenye legijima embili, more to play for at 2 million emalangeni FNB Eswatini Challenge. This is pertaining e-golf, whereby the FNB Eswatini Challenge is fast establishing itself as the golf tournament to play in for leading professionals. As in its second year, it has set a record-breaking standard with a total prize purse of 2 million emalangeni.
Right, and that's it for our news headlines this morning. Let's take a break. Start with Nadine Swati.
Umsakazo wetithombe iEswatini TV utibophelele kuhlonipha nekulandzela umgomo wetekusakata loweluswe libandla letekuchumana eveni.
Ngephansi kwalomgomo sitimisele kusakata tindzaba letentiya ngaleso sikhatsi tindzaba letide emagama lacosheme letitsembekile letitsinza tonke tinhlangothi naletisebaleni
kusukela kutepolitiki, tetemphilo, tekulima, tetinkantolo netemhlaba wonke jikelele siniletsela tindzaba njengoba tinjalo ngaleso sikhatsi letenteka ngaso.
Kanzi kulo msakato siphindze sikulethele lonke luhlobo lwetemidlalo kusuka emidlalweni welibhola letinyawo kuye emidlalweni ledlalelwa ematafuleni kanye naleto letichamuka ngaphandle kwakuleli.
Leti tindzaba lowutiletselwa ngumsakazo wetithombe iEswatini TV.
Are they yours?
Ngabukela ke washa umkhukhu every Sunday at 3 p.m.
Bukela luhlelo embili kanye njalo ngelisonto ngensimbi yesithupha kusihlwa lapho sixoxa kabanti nalabati ngetindzaba tenhlalakahle, temnotfo netentfutfuko. Lolu hlelo luveta luphindze lukhulumise ke imitsetfo, tinhlelo nemigomo yahulumende letfutfukisa ke sive seMaswati. Luveta ematfuba netisombululo letiletsa ke inchubekela phambili esiveni. Embili kanye makubete ke liswati lelisalela emuva live lisachubekela entfutfukweni lekhonsile.
Asimenze sinimukele sikuvusele nawo losanza kusivulela nathi tindzaba. Silenkosi Mswati Sithafu sesikhunga inkosi yesive sebesuthu lethiye wesithafu ngesipho sekuyihalalisela kusihlanganise iminyaka lenge-60. Ingonyama ikhiphele sipho egameni leNdlovukazi Mhlekazi nesive seMaswati esigodlweni eMasiyeng eveni laseLesotho.
Ngofika kwengonyama eMaswati esigodlweni eMatsiyeng netinkhulumo lebenato nenkosi lethiye wesithathu kube inkhomba engidlendlobala kwebhlobo lobuhle lobukhona emkhathisini webukhosi belive leSwatini nebukhosi belive laseLesotho. Uhlobo balobukhosi lobubili bunemlandvo lojulile kanti baqala ngesikhathi tenkosi Sobhuza wesibili nenkosi Moshweshwe wesibili. Namakhosi lamabili bekanebudlelwane lobuhle lobabesese bakhabhlobo emkhathisini welive leSwatini nalo live leLesotho. Amakhosi labusako kulamave lamabili lokuyingonyama yeMaswati nenkosi lethiye wesithathu selokhu aqhubeka nekubuqinisa lobudlelwane. Imbube emhlaba ibongele yona inkosi lethiye wesithathu ngebuhle bemkhosi wayo wokuhlanganisa iminyaka lengama-60. Silo semhlaba sibesese sihalalisela inkosi lethiye ngalesipho egameni leNdlovukazi Mhlekazi nesive seMaswati. Inkosi yesive sebesuthu ibonge ingonyama emhlaba ngaso lesipho egameni leNdlovukazi yebesuthu bukhosi kanjalo nesive. Kanti-ke inkosi lethiye ithi lesipho siliphawu lobudlelwane lobuhle lobuya ngekuqina lobuhlanganise live leSwatini nelive laseLesotho nebukhosi bawo lamave lamabili. Lobika kwethu indzabeni ngisandile Makhanya esigodlweni eMatsiyeng eLesotho.
Imvana yelitiko letemafa neRackenburg ithi isikhwama semfunzato wahulumende scholarship revolving fund sisaniketa eMaswati lithuba lokuthi aye emanyuvesi kuyoceceshwa ikakhulu lawo ladingeka kakhulu usito lokubhadalelwa emanyuvesi nasemakolishi. Imvana bekhuluma emhlanganweni wekothulwa kolihlaka lokusebenzisana emkhathini wahulumende kanye nelibhange lemhlaba.
Kulomhlangano tindvuna tembuso titfole litfuba lekuphendvula imibuto etinhlangothini letahlukene tifake ekhatsi tindzaba letitsintsa bantfu labasha. Kulomhlangano umphathi wenhlangano lehlomisa bantfu labasha ngetemabhizinisi Phethile Masilela uvete indzaba yekuthi bantfu labasha labeswele basalela emuva ekutfoleni umfundzate lapho afake isincomo sekuthi uhulumende asebenzisane ne-private sector kucokelela timali. Indvuna yelitiko letemafa neRackenburg ithi sikhwama se-scholarship revolving fund sitawukhona kuba nemali letawenela kute kube melula ukuthi eMaswati aye emakolishi nasemanyuvesi.
We increased the scholarships, the budget for scholarships from 360 million to 600 million. So we have had a big bump just to try to get more funding for scholarships in place so that children can have better access to tertiary education. But secondly, even a bigger breakthrough was the scholarship revolving fund. So we have now, it is a simple thing that went through Parliament, but it is going to have a huge implication. It's a fund that's now sitting with a bank, probably going to be sitting with Eswatini Bank, and it means that all the funding from the repayments go into the fund as well. Because the moment the repayments from the scholarships are coming back into the consolidated fund, we're now going to be pushing those back into the fund itself, and the bits of interest that are charged in so doing, that also goes back into the fund, as well as the 600 million from government goes into the fund. So now it's going to be a fund that will be growing exponentially.
Indvuna yelitiko letemafa ithi hulumende usebenzisana nenhlangano yentfutfuko yakamhlaba i-UNDP mayelana nekuthi eMaswati nasacedzile emanyuvesi akhone kucecesheka i-internship. Etindzabeni kubika Sondomlangeni nginaThemba Shabangu eMbabane.
Imvana yelitiko letindlu nekuthuthukiswa kwamadolobha umfana Nkosi Simelane ukuthatha emadolobha kuleli ukuthi anzise itindlela tekungenisa imali ukuthi atawubani intuthuko leKhonsile. Imvana beyikhulumana evala ngalokusemthethweni umhlangano sikole wemakhansela lamasha lapho bebacijiswa khona ngenchubo yabo masipala eSibayeni Lodge kuMathapha.
Lemaveni lamanye la South Africa nalamanye emafa labo gezi nabomandi konke lokho kubuya kuranishwe lidolobha ngekubekisa nje kuba laseMbabane lidolobha liqala lavutshini liyofika lengo yoyonako lapho kunelithanga lemanti khona sekwamasipala lokho indlela na ukuthi kwakheke etimali imishuko nini bekunene lilungelo lesive mina bengicela kwekuthi nakhona kunjalo phela kunemshuko abakhethe labasihlanu kuya kulaba lishumi kumikiswe ke lapho kumikiswa khona kube kuleyo organization sithe
lo khulumelela amakhansela lamasha Bongani Mkhatshwa ubonga hulumende ngalomhlangano sikolo lobavule emehlo wacela ukuthi babeketelelwe basacathuta kulomsebenzi
asikholelwa nje ukuthi kutaba khona umsindo lo tawuba khona sitawubambana vele nangabe khona ngikhumbula bekunenkulumo beyivame ukukhulunywa inkosi Sobhuza saphila athi umnika ikala umtshelile yini ijobo lwakhe ukuthi litshekile kwekala kwangeke walalela waphinza futhi nekwesibili wangalalela kwesithathu sayindzaba ke le
umsebenzi wekucala lekumele ukuthi lamakhansela lamasha awende nakangena ihhovisi ngulowo wekukhetha bomeya bemadolobha njengokusho kwemthetho lowengamele ukuphathwa kwamadolobha i-Urban Government Act 1969 etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV kubika Mbongwa Dube kumathapha
Litiko letisebenti tembuso lithi kubalekile ukuqinisa ubudlelwane netinhlangothi letahlukene kude kumikisa lusito esiveni ku-Consem. Litiko lekuvetelo kwemhlangano nesikolo lobitwa ngekuthi Eastern and Southern African Management Institute lebobanjelwa eHilton Garden in Mbabane. Umhlangano bongenelwe tisebenti tembuso labasuka eParliamente kanye nasetinkantolo.
Leli college lelibitwa ngekuthi yi-Esami belinemhlangano wasekuseni lapho belihlanganise bochwephesha emajaji lababuya eParliamente kanye naletinye tinhlangothi ngalesibili ekuseni. Inhloso bekukhulumisana ngesihloko lesithi kuqinisa budlelwane ngenhloso yokumikisa lusito kangcono esiveni. Umhlangano beungenelwe nalitiko letisebenti tembuso.
As a board member ourselves for Eswatini, it is an honor to host this event, which brings together key stakeholders from various sectors to explore avenues for collaboration and forge enduring partnerships.
If you want to go far in life, be very careful of two things: strategic as well as partnership. Even the Holy Bible says, can the two walk together except they agree? Most of our institutions, human capital, we are literally dying because we do not recognize the importance of strategic partnership.
We want to be known that we are in the business of developing leaders and managers for improved and effective service delivery. All of Africa, I'm sure we can appreciate that the challenge of our times is how do we improve services for our people.
Labanye bebasabhekeke ukuthi bakhulume kulomhlangano bafaka ekhathi lijaji Lungile Msimango kanye na Love Movilane lobuya kube mshwalensi. Tindzabeni te-Eswatini TV kubika Themkosi Mavimbela nginasikhumbuzo Dlamini eMbabane.
Lihhovisi lalonxusele live leNingizimu Afrika kuleli lihlanyele tihlahla laphindze lahlobisa indzawo yekuphekela abamfana labaswele endzaweni yaseFontaine njengendlela yekubuyisela esiveni ngaphansi kwehlelo lo-Mandela Day. Ngekusho kwalonxuselele lalive Thokozile Siphamla sive singatinikela ngekwentela bantfu tintfo letinhle letikhombisa buntfu lokungabangwa nguloko lesingakhona kukwenta.
Lihhovisi lalonxusele live leNingizimu Afrika livakashele lidladla laseFontaine ngenhloso yekuhlobisa lelidladla lokungumsebenzi wekubuyisela isiveni kugubha lusuku lwekutalwa laNelson Mandela. Akhuluma kulomsebenzi lonxuselele lalive lapha eSwatini Siphokazi Siphamla uthi-ke indlela yekukhumbula Nelson Mandela lowatiwa emhlabeni kukhombisa buntfu.
We give of what we have today. That is why we go around, we plant trees, which we'll do next year. We'll plant trees next year. Last year, we cleaned the area, Mandela Street in Eswatini. Today, we're at Fontaine. This is a soup kitchen. So we want the soup kitchen to look good so that people are motivated when they come to it. Mandela Day is none other than a giving day, a day where you give of yourself. You don't have to give money. You make sure that you give of you.
Lokhulumele masipala wasembabane Lucky Thabetse uthi ke lo masipala ubambisene nalelo hhovisi kudama kusita abantu labeswele.
Sinaloke lithemba vele ukuthi cha le partnership lena lesiyibambile ne South African High Commission vele itawukhula and ligalelo lakhe Nelson Mandela sonke siyalathi. Siyathemba ke nathi ke ukuthi we will be doing our best ukuthi sizame ukufika kuleyo impact la ishiya emhlabeni.
Kugubha lusuku lwekutalwa lwaNelson Mandela kugujwa emhlabeni wonke jikelele. Etindzabeni kubika Sondomlangeni kuNethemba Shabangu eMbabane.
Hlanhlamnisi sebethulwe njengalotawuba ngumabhalane welibandla lelibukeka ukucashwa kwetisebenti tembuso i-Civil Service Commission. Sihlalo walelibandla simangamamba uthi bayethemba ukuthi imnisi utawubambisa libandla lisemkhankasweni wekwenta tinguquko thide etihlose kwenta umsebenzi walo ube ngcono. Mamba wethule lo mabhalane emahhovisini alelibandla ngalesibili ekseni.
Sihlalo welibandla lelibuke tindzaba tekucashwa kwetisebenti tembuso i-Civil Service Commission simangamamba uthi tena ketfula lo mabhalane lomusha wamchaza noma ke wachaza ukuthi nhlanhlamnisi sewunesikhatsi lesidze asebentela umbuso lokumenda abe nelwati lolunengi. Mamba uthi banelethemba lekuthi lolwati lwamnisi litawubambisa lelibandla lisafuna kwenta tinguquko letitsite.
Mnisi ke ufika ku Civil Service Commission nje usikhanza silungisela kwenta strategic plan sayo i-commission. Futhi ke kunemsebenzi lesiwendako kuzama kufaka i-excellence within i-civil service nema systems la kahle ne corporate governance kuyo i-Civil Service Commission.
Mnisi ubonge lelitfuba wethembisa kusebenta ngeliciniso.
Sikholelwa ke kakhulu etintweni letintsathu umhlonishwa sihlalo we-Civil Service Commission lengicabanga ukuthi ukuthenzile umhlonishwa sihlalo nema commissioners ku teamwork, ku continuous learning, sikholelwa na ku transparency and integrity. The commission itself, the secretariat, na hulumende wonkhana nje sisasebenzisana nesive ngoba lo msebenzi wesive.
Mnisi ungena kuleli hhovisi nje sewuke wasebenta emahhovisini akandvunankulu etiko letempilo kanye nasetiko letisebenti tembuso. Kuthiwa ucale kusebentela umbuso ngeminyaka wa 2004. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Themnkosi Mavimbela eMbabane.
Kumcoka ukuthi itinkampani tahulumende tibe sibonelo ekugcineni imithetho yelive lefaka ekhatsi leyo lengamele tekutsenga i-Procurement Act yeminyaka wa 2011. Lokhu kushiwo ngumphathi welibhange Eswatini Bank noZizwe Mulela ngesikhathi ilibandla lelingamele lelibhange kanye netisebenti talo letisetulu baceceshwa kabanti ngato tekutsenga. Umhlangano sikolo wamalanga lamabili ubanjelwe ehotela iHappy Valley kanti ucutshwa inkampani yahulumende lebukete kutsenga eSwatini Public Procurement Regulatory Agency.
Njengoba tinkampani tahulumende kubheke ukuthi tilandzele imithetho nemigomo lethite uma tithenga impahla kanye nalokunye letikudzingako kude tichube kahle umsebenzi wato, libhange iEswatini Bank likubone kokuhle kucijisa lwati lwebaphathi netisebenti talo ngelwati lwekuthenga ngendlela lebhekekile emthethweni. Umphathi welibhange noZizwe Mulela uthi balibhange bakuhambisa embili kuceceshwa kwetisebenti.
Lamhla ke sithi asesihlangane nabo baka ESPPRA sebatosichazela kabanti ngalomthetho ngoba kufanele lokuthi sibe in compliant ngalomthetho. Siyafuna nathi silibhange ukuthi sibe compliant. Inkampani lenkulu yahulumende all these parastatals cishe sininye lala makhulu, so vele kufanele lokuthi si live by example ukuthi tintfo tetfu sitende kahle.
Lobo ke tekufundisa nekweluleka enkampanini yahulumende leyengamele tekuthenga iESPPRA Nomile Simelane uthi bayinkampani bativulile tandla ekubambiseni letinye tinkampani tahulumende kute kutothuthuka tindzaba tekuthenga kulandzelwa umthetho. Etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV kubika Mbongwa Dube ezulwini.
Kutemidlalo lobuke kusebenza kwenhlangano yebhola yabomake entando yenkhosi ihlatshwayo uthi ilizinga lebhola yabomake likhomba ukukhula sibili nakubukwa indlela yamacembu bekagcuzelene ngayo kule season lephelile.
Kulandzela kuphela kwesizini lesetulu yebhola yabomake lapho khona lamacembu abonakele aphakamisa lizinga lalomdlalo. Lenhlangano ledlalisa umdlalo webhola yabomake ithi kufika kwalabo labesekela lenhlangano ngemali yekudlalisa lemidlalo kudlale indzima lenkulu. Ngekusho kwantando yenkhosi ihlatshwako lobuke kusebenta kule nhlangano, nyalo lenhlangano ibuke kakhulu kunaka tinhlelo tebadlali labancane pheceleti Women Football Development.
Kule season sibone kukhula kakhulu ebholeni labomake ikakhulu nasibuka ukuthi sibe nawo ama-tournaments lesibe nawo kwadlalwa phindze sibe nasibuka eminyakeni lophelile kube bede ama-tournaments lesinawo, but kulo mnyaka sibe nawo ama-tournaments adlala nayo iligi iphele isezingeni lelisetulu umsakade. Siyabonga futhi kakhulu ukuthi sekakhona ama-programs lakhona ekuthuthukisa lona libhola labomake siyakholwa siyethemba kakhulu ukuthi nalamanye ama-programs asetawuchamuka avuke. Siyabona ukuthi cha libhola labomake lindlela letawuthuthuka eminyakeni letako nasibuka ema-programs lakhona ne-future yayo ibhola yabomake yinhle ichakazile.
Ngalesine kuleli viki lenhlangano itawubamba umcimbi wekuklomelisa emacembu lahambe embili kule season lephelile lapho khona licembu le-Young Buffaloes Ladies litawuhlonyeliswa njengaboshampeni be-league yabomake. Ndzabeni te-Eswatini TV kubika Themkosi Mavimbela, umbikuhlanzwe nguFabrice Msonera eMpapane.
28 minutes after 6 abahlali emakethe nasibuya sichubaka nehlelo asenshini esemsaldulu.
What do you think the best part of traveling is? Is it the food, or is it the conversation, or is it the sights and sound? If you're ready to explore, we are ready to show you the best way how. We'll give you access to the best luxury getaway sites in the Kingdom of Eswatini, and of course show you vacation sites that suit your budget, because you do not need a lot of money to actually have a great time. Join us on the next adventure on Buhle Bethu, only on Eswatini TV.
Welcome back. I'm joined by the chairperson of SADC, Reverend Peter Semogerere, as mentioned earlier, to see Dabesinayo on the show. Ihlano ke SADC yasungulwa ngeminyaka wa 1998 ngenhloso yokuxwayisa abantwana besikolo ngebungoti bekusebenzisa idakamizwa lofaka ekhatsi ukushushumbiswa kamelula nokuthola legciwane HIV. Inhlangano yebuke kakhulu tikolo tesifundza saselubonjeni. Lolu hlelo bantwana abafundziswa njengebungoti kuphela kodwa bayafundziswa ngangokuthi babangelwa yini ukuthi bacale kusebenzisa leti dakamizwa nokuthi ngotiphi imvo labangatenda ukuthi vikela ukuthi bangasakhoni ukuphila ngaphandle kwato njengendlela kayigubha lusuku lo World No Tobacco Day limhla ka-31 May kanye nekhambisana nemgomo wenhlangano ye-FCTC lekukwanzisa lwati ngetobacco inhlangano ye-SADC carried out a public awareness campaign against tobacco with drive-through activities in Sitegi, Lomahasha, Manzini, Matapa, Spofaneni, and Sitobela. I'm joined by the chairperson, Reverend Peter Kabanti, on this campaign. Good morning and welcome, sir. How do you do this morning?
I'm fine. Good morning.
Reverend, yes, you said Reverend Peter.
Yeah, that's right. It should be like that.
All right. Let's talk about SADC. I know that it was established way back in 1998, but for those that don't know what this organization does, can you please just explain what SADC is and what is its mandate?
First of all, thank you very much for hosting us and for bringing out to the public the importance of the World No Tobacco Day. The Association of Students Against Drug Abuse and Trafficking, SADC, was founded way back in 1998. It's basically founded by students and a few teachers, and it is driven by students themselves. We provide a number of services, including counseling, giving advice. There's a thin line there. Then we do training, research. We provide information to students that want to, in universities or colleges, or other scholars about drug abuse or use in the country. We are into mobilization, like what we have just been doing now, commemoration of the international days, World No Tobacco Day, International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, World AIDS Day. We do some mobilization for those. We are into emergency intervention and the crisis management.
So I wanted to talk about the status of drug or substance use in Eswatini. There's a report that I read from the Center for Disease Control, which says over 400,000 people die annually globally due to tobacco use or secondhand smoking. So what is the status in Eswatini? Drug abuse, substance use in Eswatini amongst students?
The situation is bad, but again, one has to be careful not to make it appear out of hand without scientific data. And this has been our challenge, that there is no data we can rely on at the moment. In 2020, up to 2022, we carried out a survey. We are still to analyze the data. We ran out of funds to analyze that data. The situation we have on the ground is bad. And I need to explain this well. One child to a parent is one too many. So even when you say about 3.5, maybe every 135 students are using drugs, Nyabegisa, for instance, that is a lot, particularly when it comes to a particular parent. The other thing that is important to note is on the positive side, that majority of learners are not using drugs, and they don't want to use drugs. They actually need help. Even among those that are using drugs, many of them, to the surprise even of their parents, need help. Even when they buy a pig and people since when we engage them, they open up and they say, hey, I'm doing this, but I need help. So out there, the situation can be described as bad, even when we look at what we see out in public parks, for instance, when we have big events out there. But I don't have statistics, current statistics I can pick to it. So I try to avoid that one.
Which ones do they mostly use? There's alcohol, there's cigarettes, cocaine, and many other drugs. Your research, what were the findings on these substances?
At the moment, it's tobacco.
Tobacco, okay.
Followed by alcohol, and then dacha in Sango. But the main worry for people in education institutions like schools, teachers, school principals, is marijuana, dacha, because that one, the effects quickly come out and they are visible on the behavior of the people, mental effects, if I could put it that way. And then we have tobacco that concerns us in the field of substance use, because this is the one which has even more effects on the whole body than these others that they are taking, and it's the most difficult to quit. again, one has to be careful not to start saying, oh, this one is better than the other one. When you take this one, where the effects are less. They are all equally bad, but more difficult to quit is tobacco.
Yeah, you talked about that you also provide counseling to these students. I recall that in 2020, I think you launched an initiative to help some of these students who need advice, who need counseling, also who need prayer, in staying away from drugs. How effective is this counseling? Do they get the help that they need?
They do. They get the help they need, particularly when it comes through their peers. So when we get those who are interested in joining SADAT and we have funding, we provide them with the training. With the SADAT, they have to write a test. They pass it, then they become peer educators. They assist their peers. We have a field team that also goes out there to help their young people. They get help. But again, I want to come here one day with the statistics and say we reached 200 learners and we have money to help 190. But this year, by the way, we are commemorating 25 years since the foundation of SADAT. So we have this experience and wealth of knowledge we are tapping from because of this long time we have been working. We are at a 75% success rate. We don't get to know about everyone we have met who has worked with us. We have provided counseling too, but we know that 75% of them go out there and do well. It is also interesting that some people come very late. I have a story one time, somebody came to me, there was an accident, I had to stop there because I'm a priest, I was also trying to help those people on the site. And then a fireman says, oh, Somokere, thank you very much. I say, what? I'm just doing this. No, my son, 2 years ago, he's doing better now.
Oh, so there's actually positive stories.
Yeah, positive stories. But again, for the sake of the public, and particularly parents that are listening to me, it takes time for some of the children to stop these things because they are fighting a habit. They are fighting something that has gone into the brain. Addiction is a relapsing, chronic brain disease. Wage waba addicted to drugs, you are sick forever. And to get out takes time. Again, because apart from being a disease, because of the effects of the withdrawal symptoms. Once the system has recognized the drug as part of itself, to get off it is a problem. Then you have the effect of, social effect of friends, the people these children are socializing with, and then the general environment. So if your child is using drugs, particularly tobacco, you find them or you are told that they are using it, the best thing is to find professional help. And it's now available. And I would like to say I'm grateful to the government of Eswatini, especially the Ministry of Health, for making us part of those professionals now. There are 14 in the country, professionals on substance use, international certified addiction professionals. So parents should look for those, and they can contact us. We can direct them or link them up with those professionals out there. Yeah. It takes time. It's not something like the child was using drugs today and tomorrow they are quitting because they were whipped or fired from school or suspended.
True. So speaking of friends, Reverend, when you dig further with your research or investigations, how do these students get exposed? How do they get addicted with drugs? Is it only because of the crowd that they spend time with, or there are also the TV shows that they watch, that want them to smoke drugs or take substances?
It's kind of unfortunate that you mentioned TV. Actually, TV is no longer doing it, particularly local TV, but the social media. We have these cell phones. When you put on the cell phones, there's short videos they're seeing. If I can mention without problems, TikTok, for instance, and others, you find that they are exposed to advertisements, which are legally banned in the country, for instance. It is not only the crowd they are in, or what we popularly call peer pressure, but a number of other reasons as well. The situations these children are living through, some of them have found solace in the drugs, or they went there thinking they could find help to deal with the situations that they are going through. So there are a number of things. You have young people that have completed Form 5, for instance, who are kind of redundant, I'm happy. I've been watching TV this morning and I see the youth are being organized, scholarships are being promised, employment is to find what young people can do. Now, when they are redundant, when they are worried about what to do the following day and how to earn a living, some of them fall prey to the drug industry. Now, we are here talking about drugs, tobacco in particular. And there is something we normally don't understand or we take lightly, that there are individuals there who have also woken up this morning to try and market these products. Yeah. And they don't care whether you have a lot of money or not. Once you start, you know that you'll be hooked and you'll be looking for money. So there are a number of reasons and factors why these individuals or children get into drugs. Now, we generalize sometimes, but from a professional perspective, each individual have got their good reasons. By the way, I should say good, but those good reasons do not justify using the drugs. So each individual is like maybe my jacket, which I go to a tailor and they make it without buying it directly from the shop, from the so many jackets.
Right. So have you had cases of students relapsing, students dropping out, or even committing suicide due to substance use?
Let me start with the last one, the suicide part of it. We are obliged as professionals that among the questions we ask before we enter into engagement with the counseling process with anyone is whether they have contemplated suicide. It is very important that is addressed. On our side as SADAT, we do not have anyone we can say, or we are working with them or providing counseling to them, and then they commit a suicide. In general, yes, and according to information that we have, when we look at some of those children in the past that have committed suicide, alcohol was a factor. And the alcohol has this potential to get someone to commit suicide. And the relapse, yes, it is part of the game, if I could call it that way, of the habit. I've defined addiction, for instance, and said it's a relapsing chronic brain disease. That part there, that relapsing, is very important. But what I'll tell the public, especially parents that are listening to me, and those people who are struggling with the drugs, is that relapse should be expected, and it shouldn't be taken badly, negatively, but it should provide the opportunity to work even further. We investigate to say, why did you relapse? Because that's the gap then. It requires to be closed. In the first place, we ask, why are you using the drug? Where is tobacco helping you? Then we need to know why, so that we find solutions to that problem. If that solution is not found, that problem is not solved, then we are fighting a losing battle. The other question we ask, this thing is helping you, you say you are benefiting, then why do you want to stop it? The reason must be very good and strong enough to help this particular individual withstand the strong pains, the discomforts that come with the withdrawal symptoms or the absence of the drug in that particular individual, where the body has recognized the drug as part of the system, in tobacco case nicotine. And even the psychological effect, where this individual associates a certain pleasure or achievement with the drug. So the reason for quitting must be very strong.
So
now,
what, yeah, okay, continue.
I'm sorry. Yeah, people talk about relapsing, but there is also lapses. The two are different. A lapse is when there is a backsliding once in a while. Those ones also are good for us as counselors or people treating people who are addicted to substance use, that we work on them as well. A relapse is a complete return to the situation the person was in before the process of counseling started.
Yeah, I wanted to find out, doctor, what are some of these reasons that they state? What causes them to turn to drug use? You know, is it stresses at home, stresses at school? What causes them to turn to drugs?
There are a number of things, but basically we turn on two. One is the effects of the withdrawal symptoms, the pain someone is going through, the frustrations, and then with the lack of knowledge, or if they're not well prepared to have a timeline during which or within which these withdrawal symptoms are going to fade away, the physical ones and also psychological ones. Some people tend to say, no, fera imali, meaning fera ini, those pains. Two are the triggers. A human being is like that. Memories come back. You sit in the motor vehicle you used to drive in, you look at other people, you walk through the park where you used to walk when you were taking these things. There are those triggers. They come in different packages. There are three types of them, but the triggers make them go back into those things. This takes us back also to the first question we ask. Why are you using this substance? For instance, why are you smoking tobacco? And then if that reason is not properly addressed, this particular individual over time is likely to go back into that. That's why in the field of substance use, there is also what is called case management, where you may help get out of your way just from talking to addressing the realities of life. Do they need housing? Do they need to change a school? Do they need a job? Are you able to try to link them up with those that can provide those? Then you reduce the possibilities of them relapsing. And finally, we have company. When one is working on quitting drugs, it's not only drugs they are working on quitting, but also changing friends. You may not be able to change your friends. You may realize that you are in trouble, because sincerely, especially on tobacco, it is dangerous.
Yeah.
So when you expose to that information and know that this is a dangerous substance I'm using, but you have what you think is a good reason to use, you want to quit, you may not be able to convince your friends. You may try to stay away, but then it may be very difficult, such that later when you start socializing with them, they bring back those memories and you find that somebody is using drugs again.
Okay, so let's talk about the drive-through campaign that you were running last month. I understand you went to Lomahasha, you went to Manzini, Stabilin, and Spafanini. How well were you received, during those campaigns?
No, it is interesting how we are received there. When we started this novel idea, it was difficult. I think that was 2021.
Okay.
The one time some people blocked our vehicle. Although we had the police, they parked their car in front in Mbavan, and then the police had to ask them to go away. That has changed. Now we get people shouting back, hey, give us the number, we can call. Or give us food, stop, give us money, things like that. But generally we are well received. And what shows also that we are well received are the calls we receive afterwards from people that are looking for help. Then there we have a bit of a problem. We need to go out and reach those people, particularly if they're young people in the schools. They are not able to travel to where we are, Manzino or Mbavane, but they need help. And then some of them will tell them, go to hospital, any hospital. And when you get there, just tell the nurse, those first people you find, I want to quit smoking. I don't know how to do it. Then they'll direct you. They are being prepared in how to help people with those problems. They direct you where to go. And then we also get other people who say, we don't hear you, we don't hear you. Please speak again or repeat what you are saying. That means they are interested in hearing what we are saying and also understanding what we are saying and asking questions. We are well received.
Okay.
Yeah, we started with the towns. Now we have also gone into the countryside to do the same work.
Oh, okay.
And in this regard, I would like to thank so much the World Health Organization that sponsored this campaign through the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, to which the Eswatini government is a signatory, and also the Ministry of Health for entrusting us with this campaign and responsibility, but also the Royal Eswatini Police, because if they are not there, we do not do these campaigns. If they are not with us, we will not take people's children to talk about drugs or tobacco in the streets.
All right.
So we thank those three groups of people.
Okay, so lastly, Reverend, how do people reach you? Are you on social media? What are your contacts?
Yeah, most people can reach us, or do reach us, and they should reach us through WhatsApp on 76115858. Some people call it a silly number. It's very easy to remember.
It's very easy to
76115858. We are on Facebook, and I would ask you viewers and those who are listening to us to visit our page, because then they will see the kind of work we are doing. We have videos there, we have pictures, and some, it keeps on going. It is at Sadat, Swaziland.
All right. Thank you so much, Reverend, for coming through today. That was the chairperson of Sadat, drive-through, and also into the status of substance abuse in Eswatini amongst students. Traffic update.
Phela makhaya inkosi nangabe phela udukhohliwe timpepa takho ubuye eceleni ubuye eceleni phela thina sijeke em17 awungeke phela ukhohlela le-ID nalenombolo yokuvota lile basifakele yona phela lathi incingweni ngibonini buye eceleni nkosi yathi ngijeke em17 kwani mina hayi wena msawumnye ngathi igaba lesithathu ihamba phela nkosi itithi nyalo sigaba secala sasihamba yi-voter validation lapho khona sithi hamba uye emphakathi wangakini uyohlolisisa ukuthi le mininingwane lowayibhala ingiyo yini nendzawo lapho ovotela khona yonke kahle nje sithi lapho nkosi hlolisisa imininingwane yakho nathi sibambisane ukuthi imininingwane yakho ibhaleke kahle yini nani hayi phela lokho kutawondeka lepo 22 June kuyaleka u12 July yebo bese ke sigaba lesilandzelako seyi-nomination coach lapho khona kubheka ukuthi ngenkundla inominate lokungenani bantu labacala 3 kuya ku-20 kuze ke umuntu anqonye kufuneka lokungenani abe nemavotilani 10. Ngiyahleka yini mfana babe ngoba ngithi nje lekhaya selisendvo ngitawungena nje ngigijima nonyaka simfaka umuvu lokakake wasendela lutho asimfaka acele ama-project ngokuya phuma ikosha yathi lathi indzaweni kula ma-community thina sifayisana nema-problems mbamba sithi ngama-solution bamba yebo koshi hayi kahle phela bengimuye kulandzela yena mkhulu ngicelifaka yena yebo bekacele ukuthi ngimbambele kulandzela yena bese ke sigaba lesilandzelako senama-primary elections wona ke lama-primary elections atawondeka lepo 26 August 2023 phela koshi bese ke lokulandzelako sengama-secondary elections lapho khona wona atawuthatha lepo 29 September 2023 ngiyahleka yini mfana babe ngoba lamkhatheseni kwama-primary nalama-secondary kutabe kune-campaign process lokusho ukuthi umuntu ufuneka atitshengise ukuthi wakhiwe ngani sitawufa amakabishi nani okulandzela mina ngiyabonga sisi.
Lo mlayeto nolethelwa baka-EBC, Elections and Boundaries Commission of Eswatini.
Sele imizuzu lemine kubumbane insimbi khombisa lomhla ekuseni ngalo mhla siphinde sikwamukele ehlelweni sikuphe traffic update. We do have Sergeant Bekmuzigule on the phone dotasipha yona traffic update makwabane sikwamukele ehlelweni ngabe sikanjani simo emigwaqweni.
Angivusele Mnguni ngivusele umbukelo wehlelo namhla ekuseni sivuka imigwaqo yethu ikakhulukazi ikhathi emadolobheni tibane temgwaqo disebenda kahle noko ke ikhathi edolobheni lasembabane solo umsebenzi uchubeke njalo wekulungisa imigwaqo umgwaqo wethu nje lo lapha indasi kwase Central Bank lapha emashayineni nasuka ka Delta lo kumakhosikhosi solo uyalungisa lo mgwaqo loyo imoto lo tiyancikisana emzileni lo bheka khona le eblokweni kaMsunduza siyacela nje ukuthi bashayela banake kakhulu ikakhulukazi litubane netimpawu letiphakanyisiwe lapho nemgwaqo ke losuka la eTotal Gardens lo bheka khona lapha emaphoyiseni noma ke lapha kubo Bill Lead wengela lapha eNandos naloyo mgwaqo loyo uvaliwe semigwaco lemibili lo lapha eCTA nalona lo la ngenhla loqhamuka khona ka railway ubheke khona lapha eStulu lapha eTheatre Club nawubuka wona umsakato ivaliwe ke leyo migwaqo leyo umsakato street. Siyacela nje bekunene kokuthi ekhathi yedolobheni asizame ukusebenzisa letinye titalati nekwenza ke isiqiniseko sokuthi ke siyasheshe siyasuka emakhaya kwathi sekusomthamo losothwele ngetitalati sawusetulu kakhulu ngakho ke kufanele ukunikethe isikhathi lesanele sekuhamba ufike ngesikhathi enzaweni yakuyo bese kuthi ke umgwaqo wethu Longsomshado Road ngumgwaqo lona bowusolo wakhiwa noko sesivulelwe ukuthi singawusebenzisa kwesikhashana losuka lapha eCourt ute khona elilunga house noma ke lapha eSpa kunathi yathi banete umgwaqo lethi lapha na ubheka khona senkantolo so uyahambeka ke lo mgwaqo lona uhambeka nje ke unema pothole unema circle lakhona lafakiwe lapho siyacela bekunene ukuthi asishayelisane kahle kulawa ama traffic circle lesikunaka kubashayeli abaniketani ngona ke emathuba lenele nekubeketelelana phela ukuthi na ungena ku traffic circle nalomunye emniketela ithuba lokungena ngalokuphephile sijinge sinake ikakhulu kathi lapha esandla kunanasi yasikolo sebantwana bethu labalapha endasi lapha eMbabane Central abancane siyacela ke ukuthi siqaphele lapho sihambe ngelitubane leliphansi kwathi sekuthi kusethe indzawo letibhekiwe sekwewela kwalaba bantwana kanti futhi lokunye lesukunakako ema-pavement asakhiwa lapho sebancikela khathi bekulomgwaqo laba bantwana siyacela nje ukuthi bekunene abashayele ngalokukhulu ukucophelela nekunaka ukuthi sesibekelwe wona ema-temporal speed humps kulandzela kokuthi lelitubane alisilo lelihle ikakhulu kathi indzaweni lapho kuphithisela khona imotolo letakha umgwaqo bantu labasebenza emgwaqweni kanjalo ke nalabo labahamba ngetinyawo sithi nje sikunake lokho kakhulu bekunene kuleya ndzawana leya lapho silungisela wona umgwaqo bese ke inhlangano lamanzini nalapha endasi kumathapha tibanete umgwaqo sisebenza kahle noko umgwaqo wethu longena khona lapha endasi kubohlatsi umgwaqo lo MR9 solo uyalungiswa lo mgwaqo loyo nalapha ke endasi inhlangano kumathendele emgwaqweni lo MR9 nakhona bekunene itolo bowuvaliwe siniketana emathuba namhla ke sihamba kulolu bhubhushi lapho kususwe khona ke lelitiyela silehlise ke lituba sonzeta ke kulenzawo leyo kanti ke futhi na uphuma enhlangano ubheka khona bo Royal Casino nakhona sihamba emgwaqweni lo delitiyela lesivulelo wona ke kwesikhashana kuletinye tifundwa lesikunaka ngawo ama potholes nemfuyo lesithi nje awube kunene asihlale njalo singilabo labaqaphele sibashayele emehlo ethu angilawula khaliphile kuqinisa yona indlela nakwenza isiqiniseko sokuthi leso sinqumo losithathako sowubonile kuyaba sinqumo lesiyawukwenda kokuthi uphephe nalomunye aphephe asawusebenzisa umgwaqo umthamo kwethu umuntu losovele uphakeme emigwaqweni sithi nje asichubeke bekunene sinake letimpawu temgwaqo nemithetho yomgwaqo nekuhloniphana nje thina sisothwana ikakhulukazi sisahamba kuleyo migwaqo leyo sisakube lisuku oluhle wonke losebenzisa umgwaqo nani endlini emsakato nelibandla lenibambisene nalo labonjinela sinifisele lona lilanga lelihle naleliphephile
Sibakhulu Magobane nanani ke sinifisela lusuku loluhle nisachuba wona umsebenzi welive sibahlola imarket masinyane sibuya sikhulumisana na Ayanda Dlamini from Eswatini Youth Consortium.
We at Eswatini Television Authority are committed to observing the Eswatini Communication Commission's Broadcasting Code of Conduct.
Under the code, we are committed to broadcast news that is current, free from hate speech, accurate, balanced, and fair.
From politics to business, health, agriculture, courts, and global news, we bring you the latest updates as they happen, when they happen.
We cover all the sporting codes from the football pitch to the chessboards.
This is Eswatini TV News.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at our English news. His Majesty King Mswati III has presented a congratulatory gift to His Majesty King Letsie III following his 60th birthday celebration. His Majesty presented the gift on behalf of Her Majesty Ndlovukazi as well as the nation at Matsieng Royal Palace in the Kingdom of Lesotho.
His Majesty's visit to Matsieng Royal Palace and his private audience with King Letsie III was a strong affirmation of close relations between the kingdoms of Eswatini and Lesotho, which date back many years to the days of King Sobhuza II and King Moshoeshoe II. The two kings enjoyed a close relationship which deeply united the two nations. Years later, His Majesty King Mswati III and His Majesty King Letsie III are displaying their commitment to uphold the legacy that was created by the two kings, while also ensuring that relations between the two kingdoms take a giant leap forward. His Majesty the King congratulated King Letsie III on the success of his 60th birthday celebration and presented the gift on behalf of Her Majesty Ndlovukazi and the nation. King Letsie III extended his appreciation to His Majesty for the gift on behalf of the Queen Mother and the royal family of Lesotho. The king said the gift was a symbol of close relations that bind the two nations and their royal families. On the news, I am Sandile Makanya reporting from Matsieng Royal Palace in the Kingdom of Lesotho.
The Minister for Finance, Neil Reichenberg, says the establishment of the Scholarship Revolving Fund will ensure that Emaswati are afforded an opportunity to enroll in tertiary institutions. Reichenberg says government has increased scholarship budget from 360 million emalangeni to 600 million emalangeni. The minister was speaking when he was part of a panel discussion during the official launch of the Eswatini World Bank Partnership Framework, which was held at the Hilton Inn in Bamane.
The launch provided an opportunity for an engagement that seeks to better different sectors such as education and youth businesses. One of the key issues that were deliberated on was the issue of scholarships that was raised by the Junior Achievement Director, Phethile Masilela, who proposed that government should work with the private sector to mobilize funds that will help Emaswati students enroll in the different tertiary institutions. When giving his response, the Minister for Finance, Neil Reichenberg, says the Scholarship Revolving Fund will solve all the existing issues pertaining access to scholarships.
We increased the scholarships, the budget for scholarships from 360 million to 600 million. So we have had a big bump just to try to get more funding for scholarships in place so that children can have better access to tertiary education. But secondly, even a bigger breakthrough was the Scholarship Revolving Fund. So we have now, it is a simple thing that went through Parliament, but it is going to have a huge implication. It's a fund that's now sitting with a bank, probably going to be sitting with Eswatini Bank, and it means that all the funding from the repayments go into the fund as well. Because the moment the repayments from the scholarships are coming back into the consolidated fund, we're now going to be pushing those back into the fund itself, and the bits of interest that are charged in so doing, that also goes back into the fund, as well as the 600 million from government goes into the fund. So now it's going to be a fund that will be growing exponentially.
Minister Reichenberg says government is working with UNDP to ensure that students receive proper internship program as well. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Themba Shabangu, Mbabane.
The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Prince Simelane, urges cities and towns to create new streams of revenue for the sustenance of developmental programs in urban areas. Prince Simelane said this at Asibayeni Lodge in Matsapa when officially closing a 3-day training workshop for newly elected councillors on how best they can carry out their duties as they assume office.
Lema vendamanye la South Africa. Nalamanye emafa labo gezi nabo mandi konke lokho kubuya kuranishwe lidolobha ngekubekisa nje kuba lasembabane lidolobha liqala la Vutshini liyofika lengo yoyo nako lapho kunelithangele emanti khona sekwamasipala lokho indlela na ukuthi bakheke etimali mina bengicela kwekuthi nakhona kunjalo phela kunemshuqo abakhethe labasihlanu kuya kulaba 10 kumikiswe ke lapho kumikiswa khona kule organization sithe.
On behalf of the councillors, Bongani Mkhatshwa thanks government for the eye-opening induction workshop and asks for patience from all stakeholders as the new councillors take baby steps into their political career.
Asikholelwa nje ukuthi kutaba khona umsindo lo tawuba khona sitawubambana vele langabe khona ngikhumbula bekunenkulumo beyivame ukukhulunywa inkosi Sobhuza saphila kuthi umnika ikala umtshelile yini ijobo lwakhe ukuthi litshekile kwekuqala kwangeke walalela waphinza futhi nekwesibili wangalalela kwesithathu sayindzaba ke leyo.
The first task that the new councillors are expected to perform as they start their work is that of electing mayors in the different towns and cities as per the dictates of the Urban Government Act of 1969. Reporting for Eswatini TV, I am Mbongwa Dube in Matapa.
The Ministry of Public Service says it is important to strengthen strategic partnerships for sustainable service delivery. The Principal Secretary in the ministry said this during the Eastern and Southern African Management Institute breakfast meeting, which was held at the Hilton Garden Inn in Mbabane. This meeting has been attended by civil servants, Clerk of Parliament Benedict Xaba, Judge Lungile Msimango, and Principal Magistrate Fikile Nhlabathi, among others.
The Eastern and Southern African Management Institute has hosted a breakfast meeting where it interacted with stakeholders from different public sector departments. The aim was to deliberate on the topic of strengthening strategic partnerships for sustainable service delivery. This meeting was also attended by Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Public Service. Sipho Tsabetse was represented by Richard Pungwayo.
As a board member ourselves for Eswatini, it is an honor to host this event, which brings together key stakeholders from various sectors to explore avenues for collaboration and forge enduring partnerships.
Other speakers also spoke to the importance of strengthening strategic partnerships.
If you want to go far in life, be very careful of two things: strategic as well as partnership. Even the Holy Bible says, can the two work together except they agree? Most of our institutions, human capital, we are literally dying because we do not recognize the importance of strategic partnership.
We want to be known that we are in the business of developing leaders and managers for improved and effective service delivery. All of Africa, I'm sure we can appreciate that the challenge of our times is how to improve services for our people.
Other speakers at the event were Judge Lungile Msimango and Love Movilane from the insurance sector. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela with Skumbuzo Dlamini, Mbabane.
The South African High Commissioner had an opportunity to repaint and plant trees at the Fontaine Soup Kitchen in Mbabane. Her Excellency Spogazi Sipamla has also encouraged people to continue showing and doing acts of kindness that will make a difference in other people's lives. Her Excellency was speaking during the High Commission's Mandela Day commemoration at the Fountain Cape Point.
The people of Fontaine in Mbabane experienced the kind spirit of Mandela Day as the South African High Commissioner had a chance to repaint the Fontaine Soup Kitchen. The South African High Commissioner in Eswatini, Her Excellency Spogazi Sipamla, says people can give anything that they can afford to show Ubuntu.
We give of what we have today. That is why we go around, we plant trees, which we'll do next year. We'll plant trees next year. Last year, we cleaned the area, Mandela Street in Eswatini. Today, we're at Fontaine. This is a soup kitchen. So we want the soup kitchen to look good. so that people are motivated when they come to it. Mandela Day is none other than a giving day, a day where you give of yourself. You don't have to give money. You make sure that you give of you.
The Mbabane Municipal Council's Public Relations Officer Laki Tabete says the partnership between the South African High Commissioner and the Council seeks to give back to the community.
Le partnership lena lesiyibambile ne South African High Commission vele itawukhula and ligalelo lakhe Nelson Mandela sonke siyalathi. Siyathemba ke nathi ke ukuthi we will be doing our best ukuthi sizame kufika kuleyo impact la ishiya emhlabeni.
Nelson Mandela's birthday is celebrated across the world as it represents kindness and the spirit of giving back to the community, especially to the less privileged. For Eswatini TV News Sondomlangeni, Themba Shabangu, Mbabane.
Nhlanhla Mnisi has been unveiled as the new Civil Service Commission Executive Secretary. CSC Chairman Simanga Mamba says they hope Mnisi will play a vital role in the Commission's transformation. Mamba has unveiled Mnisi at the CSC offices in Babane on Tuesday.
Civil Service Commission Chairman Simanga Mamba says Nhlanhla Mnisi has vast experience in the civil service. Mamba says they bank on this experience to help in the transformation exercise the Commission is engaged in.
Mnisi-ke ufika ku-Civil Service Commission nje usikhanza silungisela kwenta strategic plan sayo i-commission. Futhi-ke kunemsebenzi lesiwendako kuzama kufaka i-excellence within i-civil service nema-systems lakahle ne-corporate governance kuyo i-Civil Service Commission.
Mnisi has thanked the opportunity and has also vowed to hold it with both hands.
Sikholelwa ke kakhulu etintweni letintsatfu umhlonishwa sihlalo we-Civil Service Commission lengicabanga ukuthi ukutsenzile umhlonishwa sihlalo nema-commissioners ku-teamwork, ku-continuous learning, sikholelwa naku transparency and integrity. The commission itself, the secretariat, na hulumende wonkhana nje sisasebenzisana nesive ngoba lo msebenzi wesive.
Mnisi has been said to have worked for the Prime Minister's Office, Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of Public Service. He is also reported to have started working in the public service in 2004. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Skumbuzo Lamini, Mbabane.
It is imperative for parastatals to be exemplary in complying with the laws of the country, which include the Procurement Act of 2011, which regulates the procurement of goods and services by public companies. These were the sentiments of Eswatini Bank Managing Director Nozizwe Mulela during the training workshop for Eswatini Bank's Board of Directors and Executive Officers on the Procurement Act. The training workshop was held at Happy Valley Hotel, Ezulwini, and it is facilitated by Eswatini Public Procurement Regulatory Agency.
As public companies are expected to comply with all the provisions of the Procurement Act when conducting their businesses of soliciting goods and services, Eswatini Bank has deemed it necessary to upscale the knowledge of its board of directors and executive officers on the requirements of the procurement law. The managing director of Eswatini Bank, Nozizwe Mulela, says as a public company, they prioritize the upskilling of their employees for the improvement of work delivery.
We felt it necessary that we ask ESPPRA to come through and just take us through the Act and the regulations so that we ensure that we comply fully with the Act. We are one of the largest entities of the state, so it's important that we live by example and ensure that we do things according to law. Now, we are also an entity that operates in a very competitive space, the banking industry. So if you're in the banking industries, you have to try and procure as fast as possible, and the quality is also very important.
The Capacity and Advisory Officer at the Eswatini Public Procurement Regulatory Agency, Nomiles Melane, says they are open to invitation by other parastatals to help capacitate them on the procurement law in order to improve their procurement systems. On the news, I'm Mbongwa Dube, Ezulwini.
The Eswatini Youth Consortium calls upon the youth to participate in the national elections. Sipile Ndlangamandla, who represents the consortium, says the time for young people to be in influential positions has come. Ndlangamandla says the youth's participation will ensure that their voices are heard. She was speaking in a press briefing session in Mbabane.
This coming weekend, the national elections will proceed to the nomination stage. The Eswatini Youth Consortium calls upon the youth to participate in the national elections. Sipile Ndlangamandla, representing the consortium, says they have strategies in place to support young people who want to stand for the elections. Ndlangamandla says they will ensure that they get the necessary advice from all the people who have the experience. The youth also expressed that giving them a chance to lead will ensure that Eswatini realize the dream of going digital.
As a consortium, all the young people we are pushing, the city is behind them. We are going to hold them accountable. How are we going to make sure we have so many strategies are going forward. How are we going to make sure that we act differently from all along?
Facebook, WhatsApp. Digital world.
Over 500 people in Eswatini registered for the 2023 elections. Their Majesties have encouraged the Maswati to vote for the youth, disabled persons and women. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Temba Shabangu, Mbabane.
Mandela residents were left tongue-tied following a movie-like incident whereby criminals cut off electricity supply to the area and proceeded to cut off copper wires from households to the main power line. The Eswatini Electricity Company says the way this has been done indicates that the people behind this know a thing or two about electricity. Around 6 homes have been reportedly stolen from, and the estimated value of the stolen copper is 12,000 emalangeni.
This is where the criminals are believed to have made their first stop. Here they broke the lock and lowered this lever to cut power supply to Mandela, disconnecting hundreds of homesteads from the grid. Mandela Community Police tell us what they witnessed.
Bafike bajubelale nganangana bafikele ekhaya bagibele letulu umuntu losinzako njengale ekhaya savakiswa ukuthi isetule eMathailand lenzamba kulele eminye imithi ukhanza kule nzamba iconze libonzela kulula ukuthi bayijubele emphakathi baze beve yahamba la yawela latulu kulamanye eMathailand bayihoshula ngikhathi evakelo lolanga ekhathi ukuthi hayi ngathi kuyahusha kanjani maka siphume yabukhanza abantu bebinzamba.
The Eswatini Electricity Company confirms the reports.
Bathi sebacishile ke lapho la bathinze khona babe sebangenela ke imiti bebanathi inzambo tata gas leti ifaka gas ekhathe endlini. Kunemiti nje lesithupha lesitholile la bafike beba khona. Nasibekisa nje indleko taleti inzambo lebadebile tiyafika lapha 12,000.
The public is warned to be vigilant when there are power cuts, as there may be people stealing copper. The public is urged to call police in the event it sees suspicious activity. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela with Cindy Swazwane and Skumbuzo Dlamini, Mandela.
In sports, Chief Operations Officer at the Women Football Association, Dandoye Nkosi Hlachwago, says the level of competition displayed by women clubs in the past season proved that indeed women football is growing in leaps and bounds in the country.
Following the conclusion of the women football season, where the season saw some improvement in terms of development and competition amongst clubs, the Eswatini Women Football Association has come out to applaud clubs and other different stakeholders who contributed to the growth of the league. According to the Chief Operations Officer, Ntanduwengosi Hlachwago, the full attention will be now given to development programs.
Kule season sibone kukhula kakhulu ebholeni labomake ikakhulu nasibuka ukuthi sibe nawo ama-tournaments lesibenawo kwadlalwa phinze sibe nasibuka eminyakeni lophelile kube bede ama-tournaments lesinawo but kulo mnyaka sibe nawo ama-tournaments adlala nayo iligi iphele isezingeni lelisedulu umsakade. Siyabonga futhi kakhulu ukuthi sekakhona ama-programs lakhona ekuthuthukisa lona libhola labomake even siyakholwa siyethemba kakhulu ukuthi nalamanye ama-programs asetawuchamuka avuke siyabona ukuthi cha libhola labomake lindlela letawuthuthuka eminyakeni letako nasibuka ema-programs lakhona ne-future yayo ibhola yabomake yinhle ichakazile.
This Thursday, the Women League will be holding their prize presentation where the eventual champions, Young Buffaloes ladies team, will walk away with their trophy. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabisum Sonera, Mbabane.
Eswatini Football Association Ethics Committee has announced the names of candidates in different positions who will be taking part in the Kusile Regional Football Association elections to be held on the 30th of July this year.
And for the position of the chairman, Kusile Regional Football Association nominated Kosinati Kunene and Bekani Kumalo. These are the two candidates for the Kusile Region who are standing for the position of the chairman. And then for the vice chairperson or vice chairman, there's John Makubane, there's Kumbuzo Dlamini, there's Joseph Teller, there is Mpakati Lulu, and there's also Rudolph Saulos, Smangele Zwane, and Sibusiso Msi. These are the positions, in fact, the candidates for the vice chairperson's position. And for the members' position, we have the following. Firstly, it's Sifiso Kosana, Ishmael Kosinati Dlamini, Smangele Zwane, Sibusiso Kosinati Msibi, Saverius Sibanze, Sibusiso Nzima, Mpakati Lulu, Wanda Teller, Johannes Makubane, Mdeni Ndwandwe, Joseph Sabelo Teller, and Kosinati Kunene. It is worth mentioning by the committee, that is the ethics committee, to say that the committee hereby notifies nominees that there shall be no campaigns, and thus any form of campaigns for all the positions is strictly prohibited, whether those acts are done directly by the nominees or indirectly by their purported agents.
That's the end of our English bulletin. Let's take a look at our weather forecast and go for an break. Tobias Kubega Nelhlelo.
Hello and welcome to Eswatini TV and to a brand new talk show called A Cuppa with Nomgebo. And I do what I have to do because I know where I'm going. All 5 of my mothers have inspired me.
So the addiction didn't happen then. It happened again another 8 years later. But that's where it started.
Choices I made at the time were not the best choices for myself.
I understand how a person can lose their mind in terms of life experiences.
That's what it looks like, and I like that. But you know what? The journey to my success is never a straight line. Yeah, people are on the net now, and that's where we'd like to catch them with such shows.
Alright, sekuphele imizuzu lengamashumi lamathathu solo ibumbene insimbi yesikhombisa siphinde sikwamukele ehlelweni kusile breakfast show sinebelibandla ke lebantu labasha iEswatini Youth Consortium lelikhutsata insha ukuthi ibe ingcenye yolukhethwa lwalonyaka kude ke bate ukhona kuba nelivi nakwendiwa incumo sina Ayanda Dlamini ke wakuleli bandla who joins us now to further this conversation. Nkosi sikwamukele ehlelweni.
Siyakwemukela siyafusela nawe Mnguni.
Because I think kungaba nje cala kusipha nje background ye Youth Consortium umsebenzi wayo lapha event sengangeni kakhulu kulomnyombo wendzaba welikhetho.
Okay, Youth Consortium inhlanganisela itinhlangano nebantu labasha tinhlangano tebantu labasha labahlukene emimangweni lehlukene eSwatini letihlangene kanye ukuthi umuntu lomusha usidakala kanjani abantu labasha kuletinhlangano tabo banemagoli lahlukene lelabasebenza khona kodwa ke nasesibuya ke la ku Youth Consortium sesibuka ke ligoli linye lemuntu lomusha ukuthi umuntu lomusha simthuthukisa kanjani simsita kanjani and futhi uchubekela kanjani embili from lapho akhona khona.
What I've realized as a global goal, especially in different governments, maveni lehlukene, is the enthusiasm and the keenness to include bantu labasha in policy making decisions and the tabling of just policies really. But in some countries there's still that concern from bona bantu labasha it's not enough. We do want that seat on the table. If you could just give me a seat for me ukuthi la kangwane nisaqhuba lo msebenzi nikhanza sikanjani sithombe ukuthi bantu labasha are they being included enough in policy making decisions, and if not, what are some of the measures lenwabeka in place nina as Youth Consortium ekutheni ku-achieve ke lokho?
Okay, liqiniso lo shoko Mnguni, bantu labasha esikhathini lesendlulile bebakade basalele emuva etinveni leteningi and even lethu simaswati siyabona futhi ukuthi nalo ukuthi bantu labasha babe included siyabona nyalo so ukhona seyikhona le momentum yokubafaka abantu labasha because semaningi lama programs la khona la se afaka abantu labasha but ke it's still not enough siyathinga lokuthi abantu labasha babe khona ngiko nje at the moment as a consortium sichuba kakhulu ukuthi bantu labasha aba participate kakhulu emsebenzini yekwakha live engeneni kuhulumende ekungeneni khona lemakhaya ekusebenzeni ebubuchopho ekusebenzeni vele kubambisana nawo ummango sifuna lo ukuthi siyakhuthata kakhulu ukuthi umuntu lomusha akabe part and parcel because umuntu lomusha nguye lona le energy nguye lona le passion nguye lo abantu labadzala nasikhula bayasifundisa bayasikhulisa bahambe bakhiphe imali basise etikolweni nawo konke manje nasesifundzile sesinalama skills sesinalolwadi manje yenyalo sekumcoka lo ukuthi bona labantu labadzala babese sebaniketa thina ezibantu labasha lelithuba lokuthi lokho lesenikufundzile sale ke nikusebenzisa ngiko nje sikhona lana as a consortium kulamalanga vele indzaba yethu lenkulu ngilokwe ukuthi imimango abantu labadzala even nayo youth because angeke sithi sifuna abantu labadzala kuphela sithi abantu labadzala because konke kucala nawusekhaya yonke info icala kumuntu lomdzala so ngiko sicela abantu labadzala futhi sicela nayo insha lokuthi kulo hulumende lo landzelako bantu labasha abangene akube ngibo kakhulu labadlala lichaza lelikhulu ukuthi lelive la kangwane ligucuke so sitocela kakhulu ebantwini labadzala nayo insha lokuthi bantu labasha laba decide ukuthi bafuna kungena elikhethweni bafuna kungena kuba bobuchopho bafuna kungena kuba tonke letingo letikhona lemimangweni kuze ukuthi kusitakale live abasupportwe abakhethwe because umuntu lomusha nguye lona lamandla nguye lona le passion nguye lona yonke le mivo lanayo nguye lo uvale tinfo lokuthi okay mina naku lenguvako so sitokutsata bona nje abantu labasha ukuthi young people let them go up front ebende lemsebenzi lebeva ngazuthi kudzingekile ukuthi live la seSwatini likhona ukuthi lishintshe.
Ngivakala Dlamini uthinza indzaba yokuthi bantu labasha uyayibona le momentum yokuthi ikhona lentshisekelo yokuthi babe included in the normal processes of government policy making decisions and the tabling of policies, but you feel like it's not enough. The momentum is there, you acknowledge that, but you feel like it's not enough. Then the question becomes, when do we say it's enough? When are we then satisfied or content with youth participation in policy making decisions? Enough. I do believe ukuthi nitsa kulinzaba ye youth demographic dividend ekutheni bantu labasha 70% and above. When do we say it's enough now?
Okay, sitawubona lokuthi okay sekwanele nyalo okay it's enough noma I don't think futhi kutawufika lapho khona sithi okay it's enough because I journey entfutfuko ayifiki lapho khona ukuthi hayi nyalo se
Let me rephrase and say maybe when do we say we are happy with youth participation, because as it stands we do feel like let the nombolo that youth representation they pass kakhulu.
Yes, okay. Sitawufika lapho khona sibona lokuthi okay nyalo sesiyajabula ngekubona abantu labasha labaningi nawubuka nje nyalo kuhulumende lophumako bokuthi nawubuka eParliament lapha ubona abantu labadzala bodvana kude umuntu lomusha lombona nangabe ukhona munye noma babili but mostly kude abantu labasha lobabonako so sitawufika lapho siba satisfied nasibona lidlanzana lebantu labasha at least maybe 15 webantu labasha labakhona ngekhathi eParliament nasibona abantu labasha emimangweni yethu kuba ngibo labagijimako lesibabonako lesikhonako ukuthi nangabe kunetinkinga letikhona siyakhona lokukhuluma nabo because labanye umuntu lomdzala angeke lesinye isikhathi ube nento like ungakuphathi kahle lesinye isikhathi angeke ukhone ku relate kahle nemuntu lomdzala yabona so kanzi nasekunalabantu labadzala nanginemuntu lomusha lomunye lokhona ku relate naye utawukhona ukuthi yati kuna 9 nayo lengangiphathi kahle so sitawufika lapho khona sesiva ukuthi okay nyalo we are okay nasibona more of young people participate ekwendeni imithetho sibona kuba kwamanye emave ubonile ukuthi bantu labasha in the parliament bakhona baya participate baba visible nemivo yabo futhi iyabonakala lokuthi iye la eveni ngandlela thite kukhona kwekuthi iya implement so so as bantu labasha as a consortium sitawufika lapho sijabula khona kwekuthi okay now we feel it is enough ngekubona more young people in the parliament kubona young people in our communities kuba ngibo laba participatako ngetulu kufuthi kuba ukuthi kube bantu labasha si bantu labasha itolo nje we had some of one of a guy who was disabled ubeyamelele laba disabled siyafuna nabo kubabona because babantu labasha nabo the only thing ngilokwethi yena mhlambe akakhona kufika la mina ngingafika khona mhlambe lo munye akakhona kwenda le mina ngingakhona kwenda so lokuthi nabo babe khona ba participate emisebenzini because banemcondo bayakhona kucabanga bayakhona kwenda konke yabona so sifika la sijabula khona ke nasekwendeka letinto leto.
I think my question Dlamini then becomes what have you seen kuma barriers for bantu labasha ekutheni balungenele lukhetho, because as it stands just based on my understanding of the tinkundla system it doesn't have ama barriers ekutheni umuntu lomusha ngete akhankasa uvumelekile.
Yes,
then
yes.
What are some of the barriers that are hampering or rather really hampering the lokuthi bantu labasha balingenele lukhetho and babe successful kulo? Is it a change of attitude from society ekutheni can we trust lo lomusha lapha or it is the participation of bantu labasha ekutheni nje ngibe nako lokuthi angisukume ngiyolungenela lukhetho bangakhi nje lobadiko wena maybe from your community labangenele nyalo labatawukhankasa? What are some of the barriers that you have seen as a consortium?
Ema barriers la khona I think maningana wona I will mention a few kwecala nje abona abantu labasha bafike lapho khona sebagive up khona some of them bafike lapho khona bathi lento lena kungazuthi ayisisebenzele.
Why?
Ngalokuthi lokhu lesikufisako asikuboni kwendeka and nemivo yethu siva ngazuthi ayivakali. So thina ke as a consortium sithi ke ngiko sikhuthata lo muntu lomusha ukuthi ngenela uyathi ke ukuthi when ubukela ibhola umuntu lapha eground lo sihlwele angeke ashaya igoli kodwa umuntu lo tashaya igoli umuntu lo lapha ekhaya. So sithi ke umuntu lomusha siyamkhuthatha lokuthi akangene abe in the field atawukuva konke lo lokukhona lapha on the ground lo ukuthi yini lo lokwendekako so that ungatothi nangabe so vangazi ukuthi awuva kahle kube ngazuthi kukhona lo umuntu longakendi involeti kanti uyathi lokuthi sinawo lapha ekhathi yini lokwendekako. So nakwecala nje siva ngazuthi young people baya asebagive up. Number 2, I think nebantu labadzala kukhona kungabethembi bantu labasha ukuthi you know what these young people cannot do a
certain level of wisdom maybe.
Yes, good inhlakanipho lethite lekhona.
I think it cuts across all communities, but yeah, I do get that point. But then my question then becomes, Dlamini and Ngiyafolo ukuthi I'm placing a big responsibility on the consortium because I'm a big fan of the consortium and what it believes in. We speak about the youth demographic dividend. 70% and above.
Yes.
Can't we then leverage that into motivating Banlabasha ukuthi balingenele lokhetho? And siyathi ukuthi uma sing 70%, if we are going to vote for the youth, as the youth, we are winning.
Yes,
just
definitely.
By numbers, sisingafiki kuba practical kakhulu. Let nombolo dithi bantu labasha kungagcwala bona eParliament if bantu labasha bangaba engaged.
Exactly.
I am reminded of Minister Neil Reichenberg 2 days ago at the Hilton Garden Inn. They had a partnership framework with the World Bank by Bugeta. So they are also speaking on some developmental programs that they want to put in place for the youth. They realized that there are a lot of programs that are there for the youth, placed in different ministries. Under Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade. Banfulabasha should take advantage of that funding, but they are not. The participation of Banfulabasha incane kakhulu. Minister Rickenbeck cites something which was very interesting. Utsi, the youth is disengaged from conventional forms of political participation as well as programs that are brought forward by the political spectrum. Unless good for funky on Instagram or on social media, then they want to look at it. But if it's info le baliwe le ngumbhalo le informative, they scroll past, trust it. Uzothi uyahleka neku register ukuthi lo mfanami in 1 second yena so wendlulile. So it's such a big responsibility, but at the same time, how are you planning on leveraging the youth demographic dividend at Seni? Asingeneleni lokhetho and sibavotela abantu labasha.
As a consortium vele nathi sikubeke upon ourselves lo ukuthi you know what, because we have seen lokho lokushoka nje mnguni kuliqiniso kakhulu because as a youth, other than being more engaged kule team le dawusita thina lokhu sichazako ngiko le ukhanza ukuthi sigijimela kona. So ngicabanga lokuthi thina as a consortium sifuna lokho ukuthi njenganyalo sithethe nje the initiative yokuthi sikhuthathe umuntu lomusha lokho ukuthi akabe part and parcel of this. Vele sila ekuthenini umuntu lomusha sukuma wherever you are naka lokho ukuthi emaceleni kwakho kwendekani, you know, lendvutfuko angeke imane ide nje. Uthi one of ngibanje lo professor lona, Professor Lumumba, ukhuluma ngekuthi le Africa lesifunako kangaka angeke iqhamuke from the sky, but it's the sons and daughters ayo eAfrica latakwenda lolushinjo. So nathi thina sithi ke the Swaziland, the Eswatini lesifunayo ukuthi ishinje kangaka angeke iqhamuke from anywhere else, and kude lomunye umuntu lotawuyenda ishinje ngaphandle kwethu thine sibantu labasha. So sila ekuthenini vele young people let us stand up, let us be up for ukuthi kude umuntu lomunye, we are on our own. Ngithi lesitawushintsha le live the political sphere, the economical sphere of lale live. So sila ekuthenini siyakhuthata kakhulu ukuthi umuntu lomusha sukuma where you are, and as usho nje uchaza lokuthi the things letimcoka lokhanza kwekuthi kufuna ukuthi sisite thina as bantu labasha tona siyatendlula and sijakele kule tinto lokhanza kwekuthi akusiko lokusitako. So nayo le challenge lesikiyo and lesifuna lo ukuthi ngalokukhuthatha umuntu lomusha ngalokuthi sisukume send tinto and we have certain programs and sisa pusha nje bantu labasha sebafaka lengekhathi eParliament. Akusho ukuthi siyabafaka nje siyabashiya, but we have programs and strategies sokuthi okay sesikufakile lengekhathi sikusekela kanjani, what are the things lotitsingako wena as umuntu lomusha, and sikubambe futhi ube accountable lo ukuthi are you doing exactly loku lonanzana lesikubhekile as young people, because it's the young people yobamelela lapha ngekhathi, it's young people who you are serving lemangweni. So as a consortium ke sina nema programs la tawulandzelela lokuthi wena as a young person usele ngekhathi are you really doing logo lonanzana lesikubhekile ukuthi njengebantu labasha utawenda. So it's those kind of things lesithi si consortium vele asithi sukumele umuntu lomusha sinalesifiso lokuthi simbone impilo yakhe ishinjile eSwatini.
Okay. And do you see some positivity in terms of the work that you do? Do you see the uptake yebantu labasha ikhula, or it's constant, or young people are disengaged?
Iyajabulisa kakhulu i-response yebantu labasha nasihamba emimangweni le response iyajabulisa, because kule minye imimango nje besithi nasiya khona ukhanze kwekuthi before the participation ukhona nje leminye ngelesiye khona mokhanza ukuthi labantu labasha singaka bakhuthati singakakhulumi ngalokuthi hey umuntu lomusha ngenelela likhetho bhalisa nawo konke le participation mokhanza ukuthi beyipass, but after sesikhulumile sesibachazele ukuthi this is our thing, esikhathi sethu leso kuyafuna lokuthi sibe bantu laba participate. After that let inombolo tibe sesiyajabulisa and ama responses leswatfolako sisahamba around ayajabulisa kakhulu. So singasho lo ukuthi vele kuyajabulisa lo ukuthi ikhona le response le positive sisachubeka nalomsebenzi.
So are you telling me that you're content with the participation of bantu labasha in your programs right now, or you want to implore them right now nanangilohlele ekhaya lobukelako lobekanga ngadi ngeEswatini Youth Consortium ukuthi nanaye akabambisa?
Vele silana nje vele kutochubeka sicele umuntu lomusha kwekuthi aka participate because yes bakhona la bananzana who are up for it lo ukuthi okay siyangenela, we want to be part of this, but still there are still other young people labasabambele basasalela emuva kwekuthi no mine I don't want to be part of this. So siyacela kakhulu ukuthi umuntu lomusha participate yiba engaged, and nje nekucela abantu labadzala lokwekuthi abalibeke lithemba kubantu labasha because and nyalo kumcoka kakhulu lo ukuthi labantu labadzala babone lo ukuthi sende lemsebenzi bakhona, because that way they will be babatawu bandlulisa the button. Abantu labadzala labanengi bandlulile COVID, bashonile labanengi abantu labadzala, and ukhanza kwekuthi they had not passed on the knowledge labanayo. So if bantu labadzala nyalo bakhetha abantu labasha ukuthi bangene eParliament, batawukhona lo ukuthi nabasebenda babone even the loopholes lebuthakathaka babo nalapho kude khona lenhlakanipho bese bona bafaka lenhlakanipho. Ngaleyo ndlela leyo basaqhubeka ngisho noma sebangekho abona sitawukhona batawukhona lokho ukuthi no basifundisile abantu labadzala. So siyacela ukuthi abantu labadzala ababeke lithemba kubantu labasha, and nalokunye nje mhlambe umuntu la ngakuveta lokuthi kusakhethwa kusatawu campaign okwendiwe yonke lento leyo. Lemimangweni kukhona abantu lokhanza kwekuthi beta nekudla yonke lento leyo bafaka inanzana timali etindzaweni letitsite nyalo ngoba sekufuneka ukuthi baye eParliament. Lo muntu sikhathi sesendlulile beka solo kuboni bangasola ngasiboni lesidingo semuntu lemusha akusola ngasiboni lesidingo sale community but nyalo ngoba sekufuneka kuyiwe eParliament sengikhani abona ukuthi kufuneka asithe. So we are also decampaigning lokuthi kukhethwe bantu labafuna kungena le ngoba yena umuntu uva ngazuthi unemali asibabeki kabi bantu labanemali and bantu labafuna kuye eParliament kuyosita sive but kunalo muntu lokhona lapha on the ground lo watiko lenhlupheko lekhona in the community lo watiko inhlupheko yemuntu lomusha lo watiko ukuthi okay if kunenvo lengangiphathi kahle mina kufuneka ukuthi ngente kanjani. So we are also decampaigning lo ukuthi umuntu akhethwe ngoba so kuphe kudla yabona kudla kuthathe udle but now ufika ukhetha umuntu lotawuba well equipped lobonayo ukuthi lo muntu lona utawukwenda info lephathekako letangisida nanami as umuntu lomusha letawungisida nanami ngisaphila la kule community ngihlala kiyo.
Yeah. Gosi, thank you so much for your time. I think you gave Vagala. I do hope that enthusiasm also transcends to bantu labasha labakhona emimangweni, and hopefully we will see the culmination of young members of parliament like what we saw in Namibia in Patrice. I mean, Patience Musua, who is, I believe, was born in 1999, as she's the youngest member of parliament in Namibia. Hopefully we will see that in Eswatini as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Lomuhle.
Siyabonga kakhulu Mnguni, siyakhuthata nje kakhulu ukuthi bantu labadzala abathembe bantu labasha abakhethe kusayokhetha abantu labasha abakhethane bona bodfana nathi we are behind each other kwekuthi sisaya kuthanda ngisatawungenwa eParliament sitawusupportana as bantu labasha. Siyabonga kakhulu Mnguni.
Thank you. Ayanda Dlamini from Eswatini Youth Consortium. He's one of the members there, speaking so eloquently and enthusiastically about youth participation and engagement, particularly in the political spectrum. We do hope ukuthi sitayibona ke uptake ye bantu labasha kusaqhubeka nalo lukhetho nokuthi nje sibabone bayawasebenzisa or rather bawaleverage ema programs lawa pushako uhulumende.